for
the
sure.
wrong word was used by Kristin and Mark. They use the word passion, but what they're actually explaining where they found in their purpose because of those experiences, right? To me, the passion is like, it's an interest with no action. It's a dream and all that. While your purpose is an action with direction. So I think, Mark, what I heard from you was you got let go, you reevaluated, now you found a new purpose on what to do by working with Dan, by working more your excellence. You had the excellent skills. And then with Kristin, what I also heard was, you decide to get, what'd you say? You were divorced, teenage kids, COVID, what the hell, let's go. I did the same thing too, because I did find a purpose when I started my first engineering career. We were 6 months pregnant, blew our savings on our house. Why not take a chance?
Yeah.
Right. But I think purpose was the actual word they were describing, not necessarily passion. But I agree with Dan and Kristin about the whole passion thing. And it is a misnomer in society that follow your passion, but I think that's just bullshit for people to fall in line with the generalities and the rules of society.
But agreed. And I think and this will, because I trust that Tamar and Mark will cut all the other nonsense out. So I think what I would throw out there is I think step 0 has been clearly identified. I'm not sure what the other steps are, but somewhere much earlier in the process than I think most of us, not most of us on this, but just most of us on the folks on this call maybe take it for granted because we just did it. I think other people take it for granted because they just don't realize it's supposed to be. So what I want to clearly articulate is that you are going to have to be excellent. Like that's part of it. Like you don't get to play on purpose if you're not awesome. Focus on awesome first. And then if the market or the community that you think you are awesome for agrees, then you get to play. Otherwise, you have to eat, right? So eat first. And that's where I just think, and I'm not saying I've met anybody, but there's like, we're forgetting, Mark had 4 Emmys, right? Am I not misspeaking? He had 4 Emmys when he got freed up. This is not some clown that was on regional that was barely hanging on. This is like, so again, these are people that are at excellent and then they're doing another step up. So I just think we have to pay first. Brian Tracy said it best. Life is a cafeteria. It ain't a sit-down restaurant. You can have whatever you want. You just have to pay first, and then you can eat. Then you can eat the meal. You don't get to eat and then pay after. That's all. But it is a right to go to the restaurant. There's no question. Step 0. It's a massive privilege.
And unless you're some TikTok star, you don't have the excellence without the hard work. And I love that about the cafeteria analogy too.
Yes.
And I liked, Stel, what you said earlier. I wrote it down too, how we used to lead forward with what we did. I'm a top optometrist, et cetera. And then I see some of the excellence transition of getting away from being the noun and getting into being the verb, right? Just what we're doing and what we're living and how we're doing that work. So I loved how you said that as well.
Well, this has been an amazing conversation. And I would love to give each of you just a moment to summarize what we've talked about today in terms of that person who's listening, who wants to turn that vision into mission. And I love what you said about excellence, Dan, because I'm a big believer that I don't care. I mean, I've had every grunt job in the world, every menial job in the world, and I did each of those with excellence. And I didn't slack off. And I tried my very best to be the best dishwasher at Johnson's restaurant in Ferndale. I worked the very hardest to be the best worker in the field at my uncle's organic farm. And so that excellence, that drive provides that life experience that eventually connects you with your purpose. But I would love, Stel, give us a summary of what you'd love to leave us with.
There's a few things. The one I want to leave everybody with is around relationships and relationships of self, and taking an inventory of all the things that happened for you. So in other words, recasting the past in a way of understanding how to create a compelling future. And there's one question that is posed by Dan Sullivan, created something called the R Factor, which is a question that is asked in a specific way to then allow your brain to think a little bit differently. And it sounds like this. It's a year from today. What has happened already that you're happy and excited about? And the reason why it's asked that way is to open up the floodgates of understanding what your vision and what's important to you. When you have both sides of the equation, so you recast the past, you have a bit of clarity of what your vision is. Now you can run your mission by being present in the moment, in the now. And then it allows you to live in the moment to then move in a direction of what's important for you. So I want to leave everybody with that because I think it's the best way to explain how vision and mission is connected to me.
Oh, that's great. André.
Well, for me, to go along Kristin's analogy with, you said grit and sand, is in a way, like for me, I discovered my purpose because I had a lot of road rash, skin knees, bruised ribs, because I was trying something to discover my mission and vision. So trying and failing and figuring out how to prevent future road rash or skin knees improved my excellence to do better. And then it gave me clarity as I grew to find out what my purpose actually was. And it takes time. You can't get it right now. It won't happen to you. You got to figure it out and you got to move, get off your butt and try. Because if you don't try, you failed.
Kristin.
Yeah, as the word nerd, I think I would say write your own story and do it in pencil and let there be a lot of erasers and don't let other people edit your chapters because you're supposed to have a lot of rough drafts and alternate endings and dialogues. So write your own story and let it be yours. Wow,
I love that. Dan.
I think this is going to be out of sequence, but I think it'll go with everybody else. So Pareto principle 80-20. And this has been my experience as a worker among workers and the people that signs the check. And just rubbing elbows with the boss's kids. If you ask 100 people, do you want to be excellent? Do you want to live on your purpose? Whatever. If you ask them some question like that, unfortunately, 20 out of 100 will say no. They'll just say no. Or they just won't answer. They'll freeze. They'll do whatever. And we have to pray for them and hope the boss touches them in a different way. So now we're left with 80. Out of those 80 people, 64 of them will give some version of something that really basically says, I will do that when it shows up. And respectfully, I think we probably need to just hope the boss does something with them because it doesn't ever show up. It just doesn't, it doesn't show up. But they're saying I would do it if it was present, but I don't see it present now. Because I didn't ask them, is it present? I asked them, do you want to have a wonderful life? Do you want to be an all-star? Do you want a life of purpose? Whatever. If it shows up, I'll take it. 16 of the 80 that are left, what they do and everything that they do is they show up on purpose as an all-star, giving excellence, no matter what, because that's just what they do. What I would encourage you to do is be one of those 16 that just shows up and gives their best effort in that moment. And their best effort might be a third, 1/10 of what it was the day before, but that best effort, because you're not going to get a memo ahead of time that this is your purpose. So just to finish it off, there's 16 left. So if we get inside of that, there's 3.2 people that the circumstances are just so that they actually get to be the all-stars and they actually get to be world-class and everything else. But those 16 people that show up that way, they are the happiest, most successful people that you've ever met. And it doesn't matter what they're doing. They're always happy and they're top performers. So, and there's a choice that can be made that says, I'm going to show up at that. And I would say, Kristin said, write your own story that you show up to be one of the 16. It's the boss's call if you get to be one of the 3.2, but I think we can choose if we want to be one of those 16.
Well, this has been so rewarding talking to each of you. And I think the thing that I'm struck by in each of your lives is just the passion to not only be excellent, but to create your own story and to create the change in the world that you want to see. It's amazing. And you're all inspiring in each of your own ways. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much, Dan Rogers, Kristin Graham, Dr. Stel, André. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. For Contributors Corner, Hope to see you guys back for another episode. Thank you so much.